Erev Tov, everyone. Chodesh Tov. This Shabbat, we conclude the reading of the Chumash Shemot. There are customs that have arisen when we conclude a sefer. So when we conclude a sefer, for instance, in Talmud, so we have a siyum, or in Mishnah. We find, for instance, on Simchat Torah, that when we conclude the reading of the Torah as a whole, and we begin Chumash Bereishis again, so then there's an elaborate ceremony. Chatan Torah, Chatan Bereishit. There's a very long Mishaberach for the person that is honored to finish the Torah, and for the person that is honored to begin the Torah. So Simchat Torah is a holiday completely created by the Jewish people out of custom. And it didn't exist in the form that we have it today till the 13th, 14th centuries, when it was developed and it came into being as we know it today. The idea behind it was obvious, that we wanted to show that when we complete the Torah, we don't complete it, but that we begin anew, because the Torah is limitless, so there's no end to it, so to speak. And that was always an attitude in the Jewish scholarship and the Jewish life. And therefore, when we complete a Maseches in Talmud, so we say Hadron Aloch, Hadron Chalon. So there's a whole discussion what that means. Most people think that it means Hadron Aloch, we're going to come back to you, Hadron Chalon, and you'll come back to us. In other words, we're going to start. We'll learn it again. There are others that say Hadron Chalon is from the word Hadar. Your glory is upon us, and that our glory is the fact that we have the Torah. But in any event, there's a formal ceremony to the conclusion of a book. And then we have halachas, the siyum, the Yisei Tachnun, there's the siyum, is it Doche, the days of Avelus, it's Doche fast day, the famous siyum that we're going to have Tanit Bechorot on Erev Pesach. So there are Bechorim that fast. But there are, I can't say the majority, but I'd say a substantial number of Bechorim do not fast. And they discharge their obligation, so to speak, by attending the siyum. And since the siyum in halacha took on a level of Seudah Shel Mitzvah, so therefore they don't have to fast. They can participate in the Seudah Shel Mitzvah. If you participate already in the Seudah Shel Mitzvah, so that you don't have to fast the rest of the time either. So again, the whole idea was that we mark the end of something with a Seudah, with a joyous occasion. Look what we accomplished. We finished this and this Masechta, this and this portion of the Torah. So on Simchat Torah, it goes without saying that the ceremony is elaborate, and the Bishaberach is elaborate, and there's a custom that whoever the Balei Simcha are, invite people for a kiddush or a meal, etc. All of that is in honor of the fact that we finished the Torah. What about if we finish one of the books? So it's interesting. First of all, we don't find that by Tanakh there's a siyum. By Torah Shebiksav. So if you finish the whole book of Yeshaya, there's no siyum, there's no ceremony. And why? Why should Torah Shebiksav, so to speak, be less joyful than Torah Shebal Peh? So on this, there are many insights, but the main insight is that Torah Shebal Peh is our creation. We have a chelik in it. Torah Shebiksav, I cannot add a word or detract a word. I cannot, so to speak, make any contribution to the text. And therefore, something that is not, so to speak, part of me, I didn't do it, so I'm not so excited about it. And Torah Shebal Peh, since I am part of it, so therefore it has a different resonance to it. But it's obvious that in the minhagim of Klal Yisrael, there is no siyum for Torah Shebiksav, except for Simchat Torah. And that's not a siyum that's mentioned anywhere. I told you that that's a custom that was created by the Jewish people, whole cloth. And it's only, let's say, 800 years old. It's not from if the Tanoim and Amoraim would not recognize Simchat Torah, because in their time it didn't exist. It was only if you were in the exile, there was the second day of Shmini Atzeret, which has, so to speak, nothing but Simchas Yom Tov with it. There's no mitzvah, there's nothing that's attached to it. And in Eretz Yisrael, it was Shmini Atzeret. One of the strange things that has happened in our time is that here in Eretz Yisrael, Shmini Atzeret has lost all identity. It's only Simchat Torah. So we still have Tfilas Geshem, which is also a custom, but Shmini Atzeret doesn't really resonate here anymore. And you don't have the Haftorah for Shmini Atzeret, none of that. So now, what about the conclusion of one of the books of the Chumash? So there, again, there was no official siyum ever made. And it's not mentioned in halacha as being any special occasion. But what happened was, people, especially after the creation of Simchat Torah, people wanted, the custom was they wanted to make it something special. So how do you do that? So at the end, the tzibur rises, the congregation rises, and says, Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, be strong, Chazak, be strong, v'nitchazek, and we'll be strong with you. We'll all together be strong. So where does that come from? So there are, again, different ideas here. But I think the simple idea that many of the Meforshim discuss is that we're giving a bracha to the man that has the aliyah. We are saying to him, Chazak, Chazak, you be strong, we'll be strong with you, just like you finished here. So let's keep on going. So it's a personal thing. And because of that, that aliyah became very important. Because people want to have nice things shouted at them. There's, by the way, a halacha that the one that has the aliyah does not say Chazak, Chazak, because it refers to him. So for him to say it would be, arrogant. And others say because it would be a hefsek in the brocha, in the Birchas HaTorah. So whoever has the aliyah does not say Chazak. But the kohol, the tzibur, does say Chazak. And that's how we mark the end of a chumash, by saying we're going to be strong and we're going to continue. That's why it says v'nitchazek. Then we're going to continue, which is just like in Simchas Torah. After we finish Chumash Dvarim, we immediately begin Chumash Bereishis, again to show that the Torah is seamless and it's endless, and that we are in a constant state of studying it and respecting it. Over the centuries, it became, in many communities, there was something called the Shtar Rabbonis. It became the rabbi of the congregation. They gave you a contract. Now, it's not like us, where the contract discusses menial matters and responsibilities and all sorts of, and time limits. The Rabbonis never was seen as that. Even though in the long history of the Jewish people, there always were problems with rabbis. So in the Shtar Rabbonis that were written, you can find written that one of the things that the community pledged itself to, so they said, like, we'll give you 3 rubles a week. Or when my father-in-law, I saw his Shtar Rabbonis, they gave him a cow so that the Rebbetzin could have milk every day. And a few chickens so you would have eggs. It's all written in the Shtar Rabbonis. So in the Shtar Rabbonis is written that the Rav would get the Chazak. It was one of the honors. So he was entitled to get the Haftorah of Shabbos HaGadol, and he was entitled to get the Haftorah of Shabbos Shuvah, and he was entitled to get Mafter Yonah, and he was entitled to get Chazak. You know, there's an ad in the that's current that says that I think MasterCard has it, that such and such costs so much, but this is priceless. So these perks were priceless. You couldn't measure them by any sort of material measure. So what happened if the Rav decided that he would give the Chazak to somebody else? Or worse, he would sell it. See, it's like he has, It's like something that he has in his pocket. He's entitled to it. Was he allowed to do so? Naturally, that would not endear him to the congregation, but nevertheless, it remained a halachic question. And then once that occurred, then what happened was that the Balabatim, the people who ran the shul or ran the community, the Zion Tuvei Oir, so they said, if the Rav can sell it, we should sell it. The tzibur should sell it. So then the question was, should the tzibur, did they have the right to sell it, or did it belong exclusively to the Rav? So there are congregations today, for instance, in Simchas Torah, when they auction off everything except their mother-in-law, so they sell all the chazaks. People buy the chazaks because you're getting a bracha from the whole community is saying to you, chazak, chazak. Was that valid? So all of this is an unfolding of Jewish life. And it shows that people said that it had an erech, a value to it. It had tangible blessings to it. And therefore it remained as part of Jewish custom, synagogue custom, throughout the Jewish world until today. None of this has anything to do with me. I'm just speaking theoretically. And when we come to Parshas Pekudei, we'll all rise and say, Chazak, Chazak, that is Chazak. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash, Omer Ratzak, and Baruch Hu, Vazakas, and Sisrael, Lefik, HaPever, Lahem, Torah, and Mitzvos, and Emar, and Arich, and Veitz, and Hans, it's Kol Yagil.